It's about that time to grab your favorite snack and sit back and relax, because you are now listening to the MovieTime Podcast with your hosts, LOWKEY GEEK Rene Zalata and Blake the Wolf. Take it away, boys.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Movie Time, the movie review podcast with myself, Rene, LOWKEY GEEK, and my buddy, Blake the Wolf. What's going on, dude?
Rene, we're talking about Wes Anderson. I'm in my hipster uniform. I'm feeling very cool and ready to get into it.
Nice.
I've been waiting on this one for a while.
Yeah.
Every time it's Wes Anderson, that's obviously appointment viewing for your boy here. So are you ready to get into it? Are we doing this?
Yeah, absolutely. As you can see, I'm rocking my Bill Murray shirt, because
Bill fucking Murray.
Yeah, because unfortunately he's not in this film. But he has been like a main staple for Wes Anderson films for a long time. But I feel like for you and I, Wes Anderson films are kind of our event films, right? Like I am always eagerly anticipating the next Wes Anderson film, and it's really, really great that we finally got one now. And honestly, we're going to be getting some stuff soon. According from what I've been reading, is that he's doing a series of shorts for Netflix coming out later on this year. And
my heart.
Yeah,
I've been avoiding so much news that I didn't want spoilers for this movie. This is the first time hearing of that. Give me a second.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Yeah.
And
this is appointment viewing. This is Transformers: Moonrise of the Kingdom, or what?
There
Fast
it is.
Fast and Furious Grand Budapest Hotel. Like,
yeah,
we're doing this.
Yep.
This is okay. It's okay. Short films on Netflix, you say?
Yeah, it's supposed to be like it's supposed to be like a short film, but it's a series of vignettes or something like that. But yeah, he's
a good short film, a good vignette, even a Wes Anderson commercial. I go through his Letterboxd, seen every single one, including an H&M holiday commercial from a few years back. We're gonna get into maybe we might get into some of Wes Anderson rankings, and he's got a short film that was before Darjeeling Limited that's like maybe gonna crack a top 5 list. I can't say, but we'll get to it.
Yeah, you're talking about the one with Natalie Portman, right?
Hotel Chevalier.
Yeah. It's so good. So good.
Nailed that. Yep.
Yeah. And it's funny too, because it's like she was in it just for that short film. So like she wasn't even in the main movie too. And it just tells you the pedigree that he attracts. Because I feel like every actor wants to work with him. Every like real legit actor seriously wants to work with him. And it shows, because in this movie, it was a full on, I think this is his most ensemble cast, the biggest one he's ever worked with in all of the movies he's ever done.
I went with a friend and they'd never seen a Wes Anderson movie before, which blew my mind. One,
Interesting.
Two, that made it funner. Yeah. And they literally go, oh, so everybody's in this movie? They got everybody while the credits are happening.
Yeah. I that's the one thing I loved about the trailer, was when they were showing who was in it, and it just kept rolling and rolling. I'm just like, this movie is just stacked. It's like there's no way that this is a real movie, but yeah, no, it's great. So
are the 97, 98 Bulls in this? Is this the same roster? What is happening? Yeah, the New York Yankees of 1999. Oh, and then also featuring Mariano Rivera at the very end.
At the very end. Yeah, he's still, without spoiling anything, he's the one that's throwing the meteor. He's like in the final frame.
I'm excited to get into this one with you, bro. This is fun.
Absolutely. Yeah, I can't wait to talk about that. But before we talk about that, why don't we quickly, because we missed a week and we apologize for that, but it's good time to check in on our summer movie blockbuster draft stats now. So right now you are by far in the lead there, my friend.
Sorry, man.
No, it's all good, because again,
I'm just worried you're not going to be my friend after I kick your ass so hard.
I wouldn't say that just yet, because your stuff is definitely heavier on. It's heaviest in the early part of summer, while mine picks up later on. Yeah,
and in that way, my movies will keep making money because they're all like momentum. Like, yeah, we start scoring, and then we run up the score, and then we're gonna deflate your movie's ego. Like, they're gonna get in their head, psyched out. They're gonna be like, maybe we don't even release that movie. Blake's doing so well. That's my strategy.
Okay,
I think that's how. I think that makes. Yeah, that's what I was thinking when I drafted.
Sure. Okay. Yeah, that was a good strategy. I like that.
Thank you.
I like that you put that much thought into it.
Yeah.
But as we look at right now, looking at your bracket here, it's not even a bracket, your list. Global box office, you're at 1.9 billion at the moment. Because, right. Mainly being driven by Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, which has hit over 800 million in the global box office, followed by Fast X, like shy under 700 million, and then Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse breaking 400 million there. With The Lone Survivor, that is the book club, next chapter at 26 million globally.
Hey, we're picking up. Okay, yeah. Book million. I need you to get in at least another 20 million before you leave the theaters. Okay, wait, are you still in book club? Or are you? Oh no, book club's dead.
I think book club is in New York terms. Book club is probably still at the Angelica, and
no,
not even
City Cinemas 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, not even. Yeah. Now looking at mine, which is
I was hoping for 100 mil on that one. If you go back on the tape, I'm like, some projections saying this one might get 100 mil. There's a lot of mommies watching movies out here, so let's go, baby. 26 million. Come on.
Oh,
listen, mothers of Wisconsin, get all of your friends together. Go to the Dollar Theater this weekend. We need to get these numbers up. Let's go.
That's actually a good point. Yeah, because that would be like a great dollar movie experience for Midwesterners and all that. Like, that is like the perfect time to go watch this movie. Going
for
to my
don't know, there are actual dollar theaters. And actually, that's how we would do 50-cent Tuesdays, and then dollars the rest of the week, and it would be the 6 months after a movie came out, and you would go see it. And honestly, one of my favorite theaters I've ever been to in my life. Was it clean? Not necessarily. Was it sticky? Yes, very sticky. Did every seat creak, and you had to learn how to be still in a movie? It's a lesson well earned. I honestly miss that stuff.
So I'm sure a lot of people don't know this, but back in the day, New York had an equivalent to what you would call a dollar movie theater, and we called it the $5 movie theater, where all showings was $5. It was actually located off of 8th Avenue in Midtown. And that is where I actually saw the first Austin Powers for the first time, because I missed it.
Was it first run, or did they wait? Okay.
They waited. They waited. They waited for maybe 3-4 weeks after a new movie came out. And back then, newer movies, they had longer legs in theaters because obviously, it wasn't as big as movies are now, where turnaround can be very quick depending on a movie's performance. But I missed the run in theaters, and a bunch of friends that I worked with at Starbucks was like, hey, we're going to go watch Austin Powers. You want to come with us? I'm like, yeah, where are you going? We're going to the $5 movie theater. I'm like, what the hell is that? And that's what they introduced me to. And I was like, holy shit, all movies, all showings are $5 only? And didn't last long.
You keep saying yeah. I think you meant to say, yeah, baby.
Yeah, baby.
25 years ago.
Yeah.
That was the only way you could affirm an answer to something. You couldn't say yes, no, you'd be mocked.
That's it.
Yeah, baby.
Yeah, baby.
The thing's got legs. Okay, I'm done. You said that, and I was like, I can hear that in Austin Powers' voice for sure. Okay, but we got to keep moving before I get stuck.
Yeah.
Start doing full Austin Powers impression the rest of the Wes Anderson episode.
Oh, my God. That's it. That's his next project. Wes Anderson does Austin Powers Goes to France.
Oh, okay. While you said the words, I got a mental image, and it's so good.
He redoes The French Connection with Austin Powers in it. And it takes place primarily in France.
I need you to keep moving because I can't. My mind is consumed by this. Like I'm already like storyboarding the fucking thing. Go, please say something else.
Okay.
Holy shit.
So
that's so good.
my list. We're looking at my list right now. So I'm at 663 million. Being led primarily by, surprisingly enough, at the moment, The Little Mermaid with 430 million globally. That movie really picked up internationally.
Isn't it? Yeah, isn't it neat? That was it. Sorry. I took a bigger breath. I was going to throw that in there. I didn't mean to stop you.
I like it. I like it. Okay. I see what you did there. But it was nice to see, like, despite, the backlash on this movie, that it's getting a lot of attention there. Second here on the list of mine is Transformers Rise of the Beast, just shy under 200 million globally. The Flash just opened this week. So right now it's just 24 million, but that's just domestic totals. So I don't really know what the global looks like for that. And Elemental, again, another movie that just opened this week. It's only at 11 million, but again, I only have domestic numbers. So I have a feeling that will do possibly better overseas, because it's not doing so well here domestically. And actually, that is something that I kind of wanted to talk to you about. I mean, I know we've had this discussion before, and those of you who have been listening and following us for a while know that Blake is not really into animation. That's not really his genre, but he does watch it from time to time. Especially like Pixar stuff. I feel like Pixar the storylines tend to be a little bit more geared towards our liking, and doesn't always necessarily fall along the waysides of child, like storylines. There's a lot of like mature themes at times. Just based on the trailers alone, what do you think that movie's about?
So I'm in a phase of my life where I'm intentionally avoiding trailers. Okay. I used to be a trailer junkie, and I would literally sit around with friends and like you're going through a Netflix queue, but it's like a futuristic Netflix queue. You're like, okay, we're just gonna watch. There was an app on Apple TV back in the day where it was just a trailers app. I'm sure it's still there. I would literally just press play and just let it play. Like I'm cleaning, and I would just like, and you'd see the same one a bunch anyway. I am now trying to avoid that, and it's increasing my enjoyment of movies, and I have less info going into it. So there's plenty of times where you get to tell me something, and I'm avoiding articles and everything. So there's times you get to tell me, hey, one of your favorite directors is doing a short film project, and I get to be surprised. And I'm happier that way, honestly. I am going to go ahead and guess it's like the Inside Out Emotions movie, but it's about the elements of the earth and the elements of just the elements, fire, water, air, like that kind of stuff. And they're hanging out, they're animated, they're real cute. And then like sometimes like, ooh, it's like a rock, paper, scissors thing. Like, you can't be friends with them because we're enemies with them, and they're water and we're fire. And then they're like, wait, what if we all work together? Right. The power of chemistry. And then a little romance chemistry happens also on the side. Yeah. And then they join forces and they learn that they work better together because Disney for some reason loves pluralism, and when we all get along, it's crazy. Okay. Yeah. That's my theory.
So the latter part, there definitely is that element in there. You see what I did there? Where we don't like that element. You have to stick to our element and blah blah blah, this and that. But it's not so much on the level of because they're water and we're fire. In a way, it's because of class and because of kind of race. Because this story has an underlying immigrant storyline in it, where the movie starts off, and I mean, I don't care about spoilers if you do. This will probably be the only spoiler thing that I'll say. Is like the movie literally starts off with the parents of this one particular person getting off a boat into a brand new world, and kind of just like realizing, like, wow, we're in. It's not America, but we're in this new place of opportunity, and we have to like find a place to live and then build a community and this and that. And that's how the movie pretty much starts off. So,
and those are the minions.
Yes, those are the minions.
Sorry. I'm afraid that I'm firing on all cylinders today, and maybe it's too many. Okay.
Yeah.
I want the crossover movie of those two, but I haven't seen it yet, so maybe that's the most offensive thing I've ever said. I have no idea. Keep going. Keep going. Ignore me.
The Minions formed Little Minion Town. It's like Little Italy.
It's called Dominion. It's called Dominion, for the record. Dominion. That's obviously what the name. Yeah.
But no, it was an interesting. It was an interesting premise because, again, I went into it thinking it was going to be like you said, kind of like more of like an Inside Out-ish kind of thing, and it was definitely, at least the trailers played it out to be like a romance movie, where you have opposite elements falling for each other, right? Which is like a big no-no. So in a way, you could kind of look at it as it's like kind of like interracial relationships and everything, right? And that sounds even more plausible now, given the fact that there is a huge immigrant plight storyline in here. There's a play on classes because the fire elements, they live in like a lower class type of neighborhood, while the water and the wood, like tree people, live in the big city because that's where they belong and all that stuff like that. And as you should not be going there and hanging out there because our kind doesn't really hang out there like that. And it's just like, it was like so deep that way. And I was just like, wow, are kids going to even pick up on this stuff? Like, this is just so like far-fetched. But
you got to brainwash them young, Rene.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Again, I'm for pluralism in case that wasn't clear with my sarcasm earlier. But yeah, I think that's an interesting one, and people have asked that. Like, do we look at the world this way because this is what we were raised on?
Sure.
Or like, is there some innate understanding and like it just? I don't fucking care. Like, is art imitating life or vice versa? And
right.
is Disney, big Disney, trying to like change kids to like love other people more? That's a silly conversation. So
yeah, like I hate the whole thing about like, especially when Lightyear came out, and it just so happened that one of the crew members, when they got older, they married a same sex, right? And that was like a big deal for a lot of people. Like, oh, they're forcing down, same-sex marriages down kids' throats and all that. I'm like, no, it's just a storyline. It's just people being people. Like, I don't understand why that has to be like such a topic, such a political conversation, And then, what was it? When Strange World came out, the whole conversation about was, oh, how interracial that whole family was. I'm like, so what? Like, get over yourselves already at this point, So it was interesting to see at least Pixar now, doing more of this type of stuff. I just wish the movie was better. Because it definitely, it started off strong, and then in the second act, it kind of lagged, and it very much lingered. And I fell asleep, to be completely honest with you. I fell asleep through most of the second act. Then Act 3, they had the usual kind of big, adventurous, moments where, okay, this is the climax of the movie, and we really have to figure this out. And then, just when you thought everything was dire, the elements are working together, and this and that, and then love reigns all, and then acceptance reigns in, and they're like, you know what, you're not so bad, and this and that, So it's your typical kind of like big rah-rah thing at the end. And that was great. And then that's also when you had like the most emotional moments of the movie, that it actually got me to tear up a couple of times, like during it. So I'm like, wow, where was all of this, like leading up into this point, So I felt like the ending was very heavy-handed, and did it save the movie for me? Not particularly. I gave it a 3 on Letterboxd, and I didn't like it per se, but I gave it kudos for at least the underlying storylines that were in there. And I appreciated that. But then the rest of the movie just felt your typical kind of animated children's fare kind of thing, which I just got bored of.
I think at this point, like, that's the least that you like. That should be bare minimum, is the story is good, right? Yeah. And then what you do with it and how entertaining you make it after that should be what gets you to a 4 or a 5, right? That makes sense. They've been doing this long enough. They should be able to phone in the good stories. I'm disappointed that you were disappointed. They're called Pixar, not Pix aren't. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, exactly. And that's the thing, like, and again, I love your pun game today is just on point.
I haven't talked about how the woke mob and how they wanted to rename it Elemental because
wow, that was
I skipped that one, so that's how far we're going into this. That's where I'm at today.
I'm going to give you a golf clap for that one.
It's just the problem is it's too easy. It's too easy to satirize bigots. They just make it so easy. And the nice thing with those people is like their children won't be talking to them for much longer. So
right.
They get to die. They get to die alone, and that's their punishment.
Yeah, and they get to hang out with their other buds and try to schedule another storming of the Capitol, like in a couple of years, maybe during the 5-year or 10-year anniversary. We're going to see another one of those. But yeah, and it kind of leads also down to when I left the theater, and there were kids in the movie theater watching this with me, and it sounded like they enjoyed it. You know, I think they liked the kind of sweet moments and the romance part of it. But I feel like everything else kind of flew by them, like 100%, you know. And it kind of makes me think, like, Pixar has been kind of struggling a lot these days. You know, there's a lot more misses than hits. And I wonder, has Pixar kind of lost its charm at this point? Because I feel like the one thing that really made them stand out was their innovation in animation, right? Like, they were the ones doing a lot of the CG stuff for the first time and kind of mixing childhood animation with like more mature themes as far as storylines are concerned. But is it now getting stale? I don't know what it is that will do, what to help them kind of like bring them back to the forefront, because I feel like other studios are killing it above them.
Yeah, 100%. That's been a narrative. Lightyear's Pixar, right? Okay, that's been a narrative. I remember when that movie came out, and a lot of like, yeah, pretty good, but I mean, like, yeah, they're good at this, they do this, but it hasn't been the Toy Story smash-a-thon that it was for a good you know this area better than I do. Monsters Inc. Pixar,
yeah, mm-hmm.
Wall-E Pixar,
yes, absolutely.
And then when is there a demarcation where it falls off after a certain movie? Like that was the last great one kind of thing. Like I know there's been a hit here, a hit there, but like a point where it was like, oh, we are on a streak. And then
I feel like it all started after Toy Story 4. And okay. I feel like the
downfall?
The downfall kind of started.
You're telling me that Sporky wasn't the rise of the greatest era of Pixar in history, my icon literally on Disney Plus when they let you choose which character you want to represent you. Sporky? Yeah. You're blaming Sporky?
Yeah, it was all Sporky's fault for the demise of Pixar movie.
Bad take. Get out of here. I take back my question. We don't have time to get into all that. Sporky's the man.
We'll save this for like our animated episode, which we might eventually do, because there's a lot of animated movies coming out, and you know, again, with like movies like Across the Spider-Verse and stuff like that. I mean, I feel like they're the ones leading the whole animation forefront at the moment. And like
100%.
And you got DreamWorks now with like what we saw them do with Puss in Boots. Like that was phenomenal. That was surprising. So I'm like, wow, you know.
DreamWorks makes the dream work. My plan for movies like Elemental is I see them at the same time every year. It's
during
right
Oscar
after
season.
they announce the Oscar nominees. I go, oh yeah, that was a movie. I should watch that now.
Yeah.
And I let them filter it out, and I miss some classic animated movies, and then I get to see 3 pretty good ones, 1 great one, and then 1 just like, why did they even make this? Why is there a talking horse that was drawn in French animation style,
right?
But speak Czech for some reason? I don't know. That's just a hypothetical.
Yeah. No, it'll be interesting to see. I'm sure people have already done this on YouTube. We could do it ourselves, but it'll be interesting to see what people consider to be kind of like the golden age of Pixar, like where like the main stuff that really hit well with a lot of people are. I kind of have an idea of when that was, and then kind of where the fall off really started. And I don't know if Pixar could ever find themselves back at that level. I know they're talking about doing a Toy Story 5, like that's kind of been like in the works or in talks right now. but how much more can they rely on just stuff that they've done in the past, and can they innovate and bring forward new stuff that we haven't seen yet? So it'll be interesting.
Toy Story 5, that's the one where they break Andy out of prison.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like at this point, yes, that should be the case,
Sid teams up, but he's the corrections officer now. You're like, of course he is.
And Andy's in prison for domestic violence because he didn't get along with his wife, and then it's all up to Woody and the gang to remind him of how it was to be a kid and reconcile.
Andy is the character who's the stand-in for the bigots, because they're like, oh, finally a character that represents me, someone who hates his wife and drinks too much beer and gets in a car accident and then has to get bailed out by his childhood dreams.
That's right.
Then finally they'll feel represented. Like, where's my representation in Hollywood? Oh my God. We got you, buddy. Toy Story 5, Andy jailbreak. Hell yeah.
That
the prison uniform has Andy, but it's written in the little Sharpie. Yeah,
so that will be probably the best performing Toy Story film in all franchise history, because now everyone's represented in that, and that would be amazing. You'll hear people on podiums addressing that movie and saying, "See, just like in Toy Story 5, we can do this and make America great again," and all that. So, good shit. Yeah. Speaking of America and Americana, let's talk about Asteroid City, shall we?
Thank God. Whew.
Well, what did you think I was going?
No, there's so many places I don't want to go.
Now, the reason why I say that is because this is the first movie Wes Anderson has done that is now in America. That, the more recent stuff that he's done has been more internationally focused, with Grand Budapest Hotel, The French Dispatch, The Darjeeling Limited, and all that. But Moonrise Kingdom, which came out, I want to say, was that 2012? I think 2012 Moonrise Kingdom came out. That was,
it was Hurricane Sandy, because I remember, it has to be, because I remember that was the only place I could get out of the elements.
Hey, bring it back.
I wasn't even trying to do it. That's why I paused. I was like, I gotta kill a lot of time. Work's closed and I can't charge my phone anywhere. The library isn't open yet.
Right.
Or it's so just chilling in the movie theater, watching Moonrise Kingdom a couple times.
Yeah, which was great. I feel like a lot of people who probably are newer to Wes Anderson films, they consider that to be their favorite. It is definitely top 5 for me, for sure. But again, it's since that movie that Wes Anderson hasn't been back in America now. So now he's back in America with this one, circa 50s America, kind of post World War II, getting into the beginnings of the Cold War stuff, the birth of rock and roll, all that weird stuff happening in the 50s, testing of the atom bomb and everything. So a lot of crazy stuff happening. America is definitely going through a unique transition during that time. So it was interesting to see how he tackles that in this film here. When it comes to descriptions, it's so funny because even Google's description is so small, because there's really not much to describe about this movie when you talk about plot wise. So here's the Google synopsis. World-changing events spectacularly disrupted the itinerary of a junior stargazer / space cadet convention in an American desert town circa 1955. That's it. That's all it says. That's all you really need to know going into this, to be honest, because if you're familiar with Wes Anderson, all you need to know is kind of like the premise or the setting. Like, this is the setting, and then now here you're along for the ride at that point.
Trailers will often tell you what their selling point is, and it's essentially Wes Anderson. A lot of people gets them. Everybody else, you see the cast on the trailer, and it just
kept going. Yeah.
And honestly, I was like, maybe it's easier to talk about which movie stars aren't in this movie. Maybe that's the next trailer, is like, we didn't get Vin Diesel, and like just everybody else is in the damn movie. That and what I love is I knew that, and even throughout the movie, I kept going like, oh my God,
Yeah,
you
every time. Yeah,
for 3 minutes. Margot Robbie popping by. Hello.
Yeah.
It's like a Mr. Rogers episode in there. You're like, oh, and thank you for stopping by today. Hello.
Mm-hmm.
Good to see you.
Like, oh, nice of you to stop by, Hong Chow. It's so great to see you. Like, walk in and my God. And that's the thing. These, even though they were small cameos, it was never wasted stuff. It wasn't just like, oh, that was not necessary. No, everything like made sense. Everything was impactful when it was their time on screen. Even Jeff Goldblum, even he's just in the background, like sitting down in the chair in front of the mirror, and he says like one line, but you're walking by him as he's saying it. Even that was just like, oh, that's amazing. So it's just.
Do you think when Wes Anderson's writing the movie and his casting agent, the head of casting, just all right? So how many names have we confirmed interested? He goes, oh my God,
I know, right?
I'm gonna need another script. Hold on, get me a few ink pens. And just like starts like writing. Oh wait, Tilda Swinton. What can we do with her? Okay, throw her in. Yeah. This is gonna be a 90-minute movie now, and so now we got a full 2 hours plus.
Yeah,
amazing. But you're right. He doesn't. You could botch that, and you could just have a lot of like. It's not in a way like nothing kind of happens, and kind of all the dialogue is kind of wasted, but everything happens at the same time. So he made it work with the story he had.
Yeah. And that's the thing. We've seen it botched. We've seen people who had huge ensemble casts, and you just wonder, well, that person wasn't really necessary in that film, or they didn't give enough time to that person where they should have. Like, everyone here has a point. Everyone has a purpose, and all the purposes were served properly during those moments. And it was really, really interesting to watch. We're just going to allow ourselves to talk about this movie full on spoilers. So, again, if you want a non-spoiler review of this film, definitely check out my review that I've done, because I don't really talk much about it. But then again, Wes Anderson films, there's really not much to spoil.
You just keep listening. You'll be fine.
Yeah.
I'm an anti-spoiler guy. I could have listened to every fact about this movie and I would have enjoyed it.
Yeah,
the exact same, and maybe a little more, because I would have had a richer first viewing. Now I'm going to go back and have a richer second viewing.
Yeah.
So honestly, don't even bother skipping this episode if that's your concern.
There you go. I love it. So, I guess we could start things off with movie theater experience, going into it, expectations, all that stuff like that. Humble brag, I did get to see an advanced screening of it.
I knew this was coming.
Yeah, I know.
Everyone, maybe skip for 30 seconds. You don't have to hear Rene talk about how great his fucking life is. No, it's fine. Go ahead.
My favorite place, Museum of Moving Image, had a special advanced screening. I think they have a relationship with Wes Anderson, because from what I've heard, he's been there multiple times to promote his films. So I guess I've never knew that, and now I do. So now I'm like, all right, this is the place to be for that.
Skip ahead 30 seconds again, everyone. If you're checking in, okay, go ahead. Sorry.
So I missed out on the RSVP for this event, and I was put on the waiting list. I've never seen them do this before. So if you're familiar with Museum of Moving Image, they have two theaters. They have the main theater, where they show like main screenings, and they have the secondary theater, which is very tiny. It feels like, like when you hear about directors and producers sitting in a screening room at a studio, and they're watching a movie and they're giving notes and all that, and sometimes you see behind the scenes where it looks like a tiny ass theater. That's basically that equivalent at the museum.
I can't. I'm sorry. Maybe another couple minutes. He just keeps going. I'm not kidding. I actually do have to plug something in. I will be able to hear you. Unfortunately,
okay.
I'll be off camera for a second. Okay.
No worries.
God.
Yeah, I know. Oh, the woe is me. I mean, obviously we're not going to talk about it, but you don't know about Blake's life going on. But anyway, so they opened up that secondary theater, and those people who were on the waiting list were able to go in the secondary theater to see the screening. And I was like so thankful for that, because they were really booked. Obviously, this was a big event for a lot of people. Plus, Wes Anderson was going to be there to do a Q&A afterwards. And I was a little bummed, because me being in the secondary theater, I was like, oh, I'm not going to be able to see the Q&A. No, they decided that they were going to do what they do at a lot of these comic book conventions, and they streamed the Q&A to the secondary theater onto the screen there. So I was like, oh, at least I was able to see the Q&A, which is awesome. And for a first time viewing of a movie like this, it's nice to hear Wes talk about it, to kind of confirm some things maybe I thought about, or just go deeper into some of the storylines and all that. So I was very, very lucky enough to see it. And with a movie like this, at that special type of event, obviously you have a lot of cinephiles, you have a lot of Wes Anderson fans, a lot of film snobs. You don't really have like your run of the mill, like, oh, I don't know who he is attending this thing. So it was nice to be around people who are familiar with all that stuff. And for the most part, I think everyone loved it from beginning to end. People were laughing. People were like, getting emotional during certain moments. It was very entertaining and very, very enjoyable all throughout. And it was kind of nice to be around that. So and it echoed pretty much how I felt about the movie myself. I mean, it was breathtaking to see. The visuals, and again, your typical Wes Anderson tropes and all that, your symmetrical framing and your quick pans and slow pans and use of colors and contrasting and all that stuff. The one thing that really stood out to me the most and blew my mind was, when you see the trailer and you see these images, you automatically think, oh, I'm pretty sure a lot of this was green screen. Everything you saw was at least 95% practical. They filmed this movie in Spain, where he flew everyone out, got a hotel, which was like what he describes as 5 miles away from where they built their own desert set. So everything you saw, from the mountains, even though they're kind of like fake like mountains, to the diner, to the gas station, to the nearly started off-road ramp that is like stopped construction, all that was built for this movie. So he said he never really uses green screen unless he wants to achieve the effect of, you have a person's perspective on screen and someone behind them who's also talking, and he wants to keep both of them in focus. So what he'll do is that he'll film one person on green screen so that they could layer in the other piece of the film to make them both in focus and primary, and on screen there. So he said that's really the only time he ever uses green screen. So everything was all practical, and that blew my mind, because the way that he was able to achieve a lot of those visual aspects was just phenomenal. And using practical stuff for all that. So I thought that was just great and brilliant. The visually stunning, the acting was superb all throughout. It was, and I hate using this word, it was short of being a masterpiece, and I don't even know if I have any qualms with the movie. Maybe certain parts dragged a little bit. But other than that, I just enjoyed this movie a lot. So Blake is back. Blake, I don't know if you heard a lot of what I said.
I unfortunately heard the whole thing. And congratulations. Cool life, bro. Yeah, what you're talking about, it kind of leads into what the movie's about. So I might just touch on it for a second. But
yeah,
the rub against Wes Anderson is that it's impersonal, it's highly stylized, it is very exact and precise and almost unhuman at times, because he is such a craftsperson, and it's unnatural. Often the dialogue can be unnatural, the sets, where the camera is, how people move, and yet it's so damn captivating because he's so damn good at it. And if you're good at it, you get away with that. When you have someone trying to do Wes Anderson stuff and it's not as expert quality, it can feel clunky and fall flat. His movies don't fall flat, except for the folks who really need to just like have every emotion on the surface and telegraph to them and to be pulled into a story. But it's like someone who's telling a normal quality story, but is such a great storyteller that you're fully sucked in. And that's like some of the best campfire stories, that it's not about the story at all. It's how the person tells it. And in fact, storytelling is a huge part of his movies, including this one. But we can go all the way back. Royal Tenenbaums. We can go back further than that. But if Royal Tenenbaums is the magnum opus of Wes Anderson, we've got books throughout and chapters and a narrator. I think that's Bob Balaban even back then.
Yeah.
It's been a while. Bob Balaban, man, shout out him. I saw him and I got geeked for a second in this movie. I have a whole nerdy little love fandom for Mr. Balaban. But all the way through his movies, and there will be the little title cards. And anyway, I think this movie, it works particularly well because that's essentially what the movie is about. Is it's asking questions like, why are we here? What stories do we tell ourselves? The highway that's halfway under construction, like there's a whole moment when we're starting to like get into the world and they're just showing construction things, or it'll say construction, or there'll be construction around the asteroid or the crater. There'll be the highway ramp that doesn't go anywhere. And it's essentially like you're watching a storyteller, creative person talk about construction, creation, what people are doing with their time. And at some point there's a character selling plots of land and they're talking about what the future is. And like, it's literally like a blank slate. And I'm not going to get much into it, but I do want to ask you about this since you have such a cool life and got to hear a Q&A. Whoop-de-doo. I'm so jealous. God. This is a COVID movie. This is the way Spielberg does Fabelmans, and he's asking himself these big questions. The way a lot of directors we talked about last year did their and screenwriters did their little check-in on themselves a little too much for a year there, and what am I doing with my life? What's my purpose? Where did I come from? Etc. A lot of memoirs in the last couple of years. This is Wes Anderson's version of that, I think. I don't think we're going to get a real personal human Wes Anderson story. The day I was born, the look on my mother's face, and the doctor said this shit.
Yeah, no bullets afraid here. No Spielberg kind of Fabelmans, nothing like that. No.
There's a character near the end, played by Jason Schwartzman. Again, it's pretty much impossible to tell his story, but like the crux of the movie, sort of like right at the climax, right before the denouement. You're welcome. Is Jason Schwartzman essentially asking like, what should I be doing this? Why am I doing this? What is my purpose? And he's asking it as his character with his little mission in the movie. And there's a lot of meta stuff happening. And Jason Schwartzman playing an actor who's playing an actor. Jason Schwartzman playing, I'm going to say a craftsman. I forgot his actual like construction something, but he's like creating things or like making things. And then that guy gets plugged to play a movie character. There's a lot of that stuff all throughout the movie.
Yeah.
And then there's an interruption from an outside force. It's not COVID, it's an alien.
Yeah.
It's called Asteroid City, everyone. That's as far as we're going to get into spoiler stuff. And there's a quarantine moment happening and people being stuck with time spent in just one-on-one conversations. And you could basically, if you wanted to, you could make any argument on this is why we're alive and this is why we're here. And this movie could, as a parable, address that.
Yeah.
I really liked that. And it didn't hit me. It hit me throughout the movie that might be what's happening. But afterward, it's one of those, I talked about it with a friend on the walk back afterward to the train. And we got into it and we started talking about life. And that's Wes Anderson movies, you can get into that. Like he's addressing some big topics and stuff, but usually it's like, oh yeah, that was cool. I love that. That made me happy. That made me feel sentimental. That made me feel twee and sad or whatever. This one actually was like, was that quality of asking the big questions of why are we here? I loved that about this movie. All that to say, my question is, do you, and apologies, I was half listening because my jealousy was just, I couldn't hear anything. My ears were ringing with jealousy with your Q&A story. But did you already address that at all? His creation of the movie and like the timing of it being a COVID movie?
No, I didn't bring that up yet, but
that was the first question I had was like, did he write it before? Which it did happen with some of those memoirs. They're like, no, I've had this one in the bag and I've just been waiting to make it.
Yeah.
A bunch of them were, no, I spent a little too much time alone and wrote it. Did he address that in the Q&A?
He did. The question was brought up because, again, a lot of, and I feel like for the next couple of years, we're going to be doing a lot of comparisons of, oh, this feels familiar because it feels like what we went through during COVID and lockdown and all that stuff. And I feel like, obviously, for a lot of writers, movie makers, content creators, that's going to be inspiration because of what they experienced and all that. And like you said, we've already seen some of that come out. So it was brought up, and he said, well, yeah, when he was writing this movie, it originally started off as a romance movie, and then everything started to change when COVID happened. So he had to kind of not rewrite it, but he was in the middle of writing it. So he used a lot of elements that he said that he experienced. There are moments in this movie where you see Jason Schwartzman's character, Augie, talking to Midge, played by Scarlett Johansson, and they're just talking through windows, and they're having conversations through windows within their own respective kind of bungalows or houses and all that. And he said, I feel like that's something that we all can relate to because that's what we were basically doing during that time. And these people who are finding themselves isolated in this one particular area because of this major alien event are being asked to quarantine and isolate themselves. And this is the only form of human connection that they can experience. So it's something that they didn't want to break. So he used a lot of that influence and experiences writing this into and implementing it into his film. So it's not full-on COVID movie, but definitely there were elements in there that inspired some of the things that we saw, play throughout. But I think overall, yeah, it is kind of more of like a human connection, wanderance of our existence. Like, I feel like a lot of that does definitely come into play here. I do love the fact that it's a story within a story, because there's also another outside story of the actors, those who are portraying these characters. Because that's one thing that you never got in the trailer. We didn't realize that we are watching basically a stage play being formulated in front of us. The movie starts off with our kind of narrator of the movie, Bryan Cranston, saying, like, here's the setting. This is the setup and everything. We get to see the writer of the play, played by Edward Norton. He's writing the story and he's having meetings with his actors and all that. And we're seeing all that, and then it like immediately switches to the actual production as we're seeing in full color and all that. So I love the brilliance behind all that. And I'm sure, and this is something I actually wanted to bring up to you as well, because I know very recently you watched Close Encounters of the Third Kind. How much of a relevance did you see some of that within this film? Because in a way, a lot of the characters within that movie kind of were drawn together because of a specific event or a specific kind of calling, right? And in a way, it feels like in all of these random people were drawn to this one particular place, possibly by random or by fate or whatever, and experiencing a similar kind of life-changing event, and them having to have to deal with it and kind of learn about themselves and learn about being with others during those moments. So did you feel a lot of that connection or no?
I'm sorry. We're doing another one of those, like the Wes Anderson Transformers Fast and Furious concept, but now you're doing Close Encounters, which makes more sense. Yes. I love that one. Bob Balaban crossover. Yes. I didn't even put that together until now. Goddamn.
Yep.
2, I was thinking through, well, what would the Wes Anderson, what's the cross? And I remembered Richard Dreyfuss's little arts and crafts project in Close Encounters, where he is manically creating the thing he saw in his dreams and yelling at his wife and children. And I was imagining the cute twee Wes Anderson version of that. And then I go, oh, wait, that did happen. You had all the little kids going, I made this thing and it looks like the aliens, blah, blah, blah. This is what his homeland looks like. Go to the next kid. I made this and here's his spaceship. That is so cute. It happens after the fact, not the obsessive.
Not leading to it, right? Yeah.
I hate my wife. She's not taking my fever dream seriously energy. But the Wes Anderson version of that for sure, which is like I made a little craft. God, he's so cute with it. His little. Can you imagine? Now I'm imagining that kid, which might be Wes Anderson's little like. A lot of the directors we were talking about since COVID made their little like, this is what I was like as a kid movies, and this is how I got here. That was his little moment. He was like, yeah, I was the kid who when the Oakland earthquake happened and I recreated the Oakland A's baseball stadium with toothpicks or whatever. Like we know that's what he was doing in 1989.
This is the bridge that collapsed. So, you know, I made it out of paper mache.
Oh my God, that's how he's been processing his emotions. I want there to at some point be the how this dude got this way.
Yeah.
Because there's not many people like Wes Anderson.
No.
And if you told me, and I don't know, but I'm from Oklahoma, he's from Texas. He's the one who puts, a lot of people don't give him enough credit, puts Owen Wilson and Luke Wilson on the map, little buddies, and then they're making little short films together.
Well,
Bottle Rocket fact. Blows up.
Fun fact.
No pun intended, sorry.
Yeah, he went to college with Owen.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they so
they hey, want to make a short film with me?
Yeah. And then, I have a brother, and boom, boom, boom. You know, and
my character has a brother. Oh, right. let's make. So yeah, Bottle Rocket blows up again. Pardon the pun, but then we're going full circle with Asteroid City stuff again. Not trying to do anything too cute or creative. We'll leave that to Wes Anderson. I want to know what the life event happens when his mom's like, oh, yeah, a tornado hit our home in kindergarten. He said, I'll do whatever I can to recreate our lives as it was before at the age of, or something like that. Like, this dude is pretty obsessive on but it also, there was something about a nice little anecdote I read from Bryan Cranston, I think, where essentially you have this incredible cast. A lot of people have worked together. So somebody said it would be easier to name the actors who have not been in a Wes Anderson movie before than who have. And that says a lot as a director. Actors keep working for you on relatively small budget movies. So I can't imagine they're just paying Tilda Swinton bukus of cash. He probably is doing it for the love of the game. Bill Murray was supposed to be in this movie, but contracted COVID at some point. And so he got replaced with Steve Carell. But which honestly, that's fun. Now we got a new person in the Wes Anderson repertory. They were saying that every night there was a banquet with all the actors when they would wrap. That's beautiful.
Yep.
That's lovely. And he even said it was a difficult film to shoot, but that was kind of like what got them through it. And I don't know when he was talking about difficult, I didn't get more of the quote if there was any, but you're traveling all the way to Spain. You're recreating all these sets, and I can imagine Wes Anderson with his little cute boy OCD, whatever he has that where it's like everything is precise. Maybe he's exacting, but I imagine he's like gentle about it. I can't imagine him being the one who's like slaps Tilda Swinton and says, now get back in character before I scream at you or something like that. Like that's not, I don't think that's his vibe. I don't know what about the movie has made it difficult, but I know what made it fun, and that's he said it was like an actor's camp, and they're at like a little space camp recreation thing. That sounds lovely, especially with the last few years that they all had not being able to work for a bit and asking themselves some of the same questions that characters are asking in the movie.
Yeah. Wes is definitely not Stanley Kubrick, who is forcing Shelley Duvall to repeat her lines like over 100 times and all that. But he did actually talk about that during the Q&A, where he said it felt good because they were all staying at the same hotel. The set where they were filming was literally like across the way, so they didn't have to travel far. And it was just fun. Like, yeah, it was like he mentions, and you see a lot of similarities in kind of like the actor studio, where, you know, the story within the story where it's the actors putting on this stage performance. It looks like it was something that was kind of like formulated from, you know, kind of like the actor studio kind of setting and vibe and everything.
That makes sense.
And then he said like their camp felt very much like that. You know, where you had people having lunches all together, having dinners all together. Everyone was hanging out with each other and kind of just like getting to know each other, and then getting to understand who their characters were, and, you know, working with Wes and all that stuff like that. The one funny thing he said though is that sometimes they would just stay up way too late and hang out together. And he said like there were balconies that they had that he could hear every conversation happening down below him. So he
already it was Jeff Goldblum. Tilda.
Yeah.
Hey Tilda, I have a question for you. If you're up for it. I don't know if you're up at all, but Tilda, I would like to ask you something really quickly. When I was the fly, did you find, because I know that you could actually become a fly yourself.
So actually,
anyway, darling.
Actually, it was the opposite. So he said like a lot of people were kind of trying to figure out what this movie was about, because even to them, as they were there,
so fun.
They could not understand or really figure out what this movie was about. So they had conversations among themselves, speculating. And Wes would be like, by his balcony, and be like, "No, that's not right. No, that's not right." But then
that would drive you crazy as a creative to just hear the voices in your head being like asking you questions about your project while you're making it.
And then Jeff Goldblum, he said Jeff Goldblum every night was playing the piano in the lobby or whatever the case is.
Oh my god! What a dream!
And then he said, people will go up to Jeff and say like, "Hey Jeff, do you think this is because of this?" And he's like, "No, he's like, actually, I think this is blah blah blah, this and that." And then Wes would be like, "Jeff got it. Jeff understood this movie from beginning to end, and he's explaining it to everybody else."
Well, what did Jeff Goldblum say? It's probably what I said, right?
Yeah. Wes never said what exactly he said, but like every time someone had a question or a speculation, Jeff would be like, "No, actually, it's this and this," and Wes would be like, sorry. "Yeah, absolutely."
I literally, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, I just Googled what Jeff Goldblum, and they have it here. He said, "Okay, so you take a drop of water, and let me see your hand, darling."
He explained chaos theory.
Which way will it get? Yeah.
Yeah.
Chaos Theory 101.
Yeah.
That's what the movie's about.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
So,
I don't want to say about Jeff Goldblum's credit, because I think that is actually the only thing that you could have spoiled for me.
That is like the surprise. Yeah.
I love that he's in this movie.
Yeah.
And then on the actor studio thing, like I literally was thinking that, and now you're saying it, and I'm putting that quote with that vibe.
Mm-hmm.
I could almost see them adding that after they are doing that. Like, hey, wouldn't that be fun, y'all? Or like they did a little acting exercise with all these little acting nerds, and then they go, "Wait, let's film this. Can we get Edward Norton in here real quick?" Hey, but they had like a little Lee Strasberg moment, and Willem Dafoe playing that guy that was fun. And then they did an acting exercise together in the middle of the movie.
Yeah.
I can't imagine how soulful, like how fulfilling that experience would have been for this huge group of amazing actors. And I'm guessing Tom Hanks was having, like, he may have gotten his groove back for a second after being the dude who kicked off all the COVID freak out and shut down of it all. Yeah. But the fact that he's there makes it even more poetic. But just everybody, from some of the most veteran, experienced actors. And there's no one, like, I can see some movies where it'd be like, oh, that's the vibe killer. You know, Jack Nicholson's there and he's grabbing Maya Hawke's ass or something like that. I'm not saying that is what has or would happen. I'm just saying, like, that's the kind of thing you could imagine with certain. Maybe Edward Norton's there just like doing a little too much blow, talking about stock market theory or something. Yeah. Maybe, but I don't think there's a lot of vibe killers in this cast. That's my guess. I don't think Bob Balaban is necessarily like headbutting the waitress when she brings him the wrong coffee or something.
Yeah, no, like Hong Chow having like a flip out moment. You know, kind of like, I said I wanted red M&Ms. You know, I don't think there was a lot of that going on.
No Christian Bale's going on.
No, it's like, get off my set. You just walked in front of the camera. Yeah, or whatever.
Now I'm doing the Tom Cruise crossover, Mission Impossible, but Wes Anderson style.
Right.
They expect perfection. Okay.
Oh my god.
I can't. I need someone to make the parody of all these franchises, but the Wes Anderson, when they're like, oh, let's bring in the Marvel movie. We did the director of Nomadland. Name is escaping me now. Was that Zoe Chow? Chloe.
Wow. Yeah.
You did a spoonerism. That was cute.
Yeah, I had a brief dyslexic moment.
Zoe Chow. Yeah, I need to see the Wes Anderson version of these things, please. Yeah. Okay. I could do that all day.
Well, it's interesting because the big trend now on YouTube, especially now with the whole AI thing, is that you have a lot of people creating their own AI generated Wes Anderson trailers doing this movie, and something to what you said earlier was he's such a unique auteur. He's such a unique filmmaker that no one is like him. And you could try to replicate his look and all that, but you're going to be missing out on a lot of like the emotions, a lot of the dialogue, a lot of the things that make a Wes Anderson film Wes Anderson. You could try to replicate it as much as you want. You could maybe get some of the look down, right? The aesthetics, but you're going to miss a lot of the soul, a lot of that kind of personality within there. And a lot of that has to do also with the cast that he uses. He is the probably one of the few directors that you have people who are wanting to work with him, and probably like they hear that he's working on a new movie. I'm pretty sure they reach out to him like, hey, do you have a role for me? Blah, 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 this and that. So I'm sure casting for him is no problem because you have people who are probably lining up wanting to be in his film. Yeah. But he does have a tendency to work with a stable of familiars that we all see all the time. It's nice to see Jason Schwartzman kind of take more of a lead in this film because we haven't seen that since freaking Rushmore. Yeah, wow. And he was like a little kid practically in that movie because we're going back to like 98. Yeah, we're going back to like 98.
Yeah, that's another full circle poetic thing here. Yeah, I didn't even put that together. I'm going through his movies. He's been in a bunch,
yeah.
Huh. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So, it was nice to see the familiars, but it was also nice to see kind of the newer crop coming in. And one of the things I wanted to talk to you about was who in this movie that's new that you actually would love to see more in Wes Anderson films and who feel like they fit, because so you brought up Steve Carell, who replaces Bill Murray in this. Steve Carell, I'm a huge fan of his comedy. Obviously, The Office is fantastic and all that. I don't necessarily feel like he fits in a Wes Anderson kind of realm.
I agree. He's good at making something kind of like cute and harmless and gentle. Yeah. That character could have had the Bill Murray edge, just a little more seasoning on it.
Yeah.
Or Steve Carell could do a different performance. It seemed like he was just kind of phoning it in, having fun, just doing his little, hey, just be Steve Carell kind of thing.
Yeah.
I would have much preferred that. That was the only character when it happened. I was like, okay, this is just like a different thing every time. It's almost an interruption of sorts.
Yeah.
I think if it was Bill Murray, it would have flowed more naturally. And that's wild because I love Steve Carell.
Yeah.
That's actually a good question because I'm going through the list of people now, and so many of them have worked with him before. Do you happen to have? I'm curious who your answer is, but I almost wish I had the list back up of people he hasn't worked with before. I do have a couple names that I'm seeing that I know work well. I might be forgetting someone, so I'm in my answer. Rupert. I'm going to say Rupert Friend. Is it Friend?
I think it's Friend. Yeah.
I thought he crushed it.
He was great. Yeah, he was great.
His role was fun, and he was good at that character. And a lot of Wes Anderson movies have that gruff cowboy, older man. There's a word for it, but like he's not that dissimilar from like, and it's not that this dude was all that gruff, but just like Bill Murray in Rushmore, Gene Hackman in Royal Tenenbaums, Danny Glover in Royal Tenenbaums. Like we go through the list. Bill Murray in Moonrise Kingdom. Like we go through this list. And I'm not going to get into the psychology of Wes Anderson and like what his relationship with his grandfather is or whatever. But this little cowboy character did great at that. I think Tom Hanks is someone who he's always going to be distracting because he's always going to be Tom Hanks. And I think that character worked well because he was kind of the guy who came in from the outside. The character did, and is a distraction to the characters there. The characters are going through something and okay, you're here again. So I think that worked. I think there's a version where Tom Hanks is put to even better use by Wes Anderson, and I want to see that. I think this is Hong Chau's first. I'm certain of that.
Yeah.
I could see a lot more Hong Chau in anything and everything. So I think maybe that'll be my final answer is Hong Chau. That was those were some favorite moments in the movie for me. What do you got? What's your answer on that one? That's a good question.
So I definitely agree with you on the whole Tom Hanks front. I feel like with the stage that he's currently in now in his career, I feel like he is perfect for like Wes Anderson type of movies. Kind of more like getting more into like the weeds of more of like the indie artistic side of acting, kind of like Bryan Cranston. Like I feel like Bryan Cranston was kind of tailor made for that, even though I feel like most people were familiar with him because of Malcolm in the Middle. But then when we started seeing him do Breaking Bad, we're like, holy shit, where did this come from? So I feel like Tom Hanks, we know he could do drama. We know he could do so many things. When you mix kind of drama with comedy in the Wes Anderson style, I feel like Tom Hanks would fit perfectly in that right now in the stage of career that he's in.
Yep.
Another one that stood out to me was Maya Hawke. I was so happy to see her in this film.
Yes.
And
she's, that's the answer, actually.
Yeah, because she's perfect for these
Wes
things.
Anderson.
Yeah. And again, she shared a lot of those screen moments with Rupert, so it was kind of great to see both of them together.
That was cute.
It was very, very cute.
What about Mr. Schreiber? He's on the list too.
Yeah, Liev Schreiber.
Sure.
It was interesting to see him, but I just don't think I don't think he's a perfect fit for this.
He's the guest person. He's like the sheriff kind of thing. And because he's really good at like monotone, cool, not overly emotional, just, yep, there goes another one. Or just some little throwaway dialogue. Give him like 3 of those lines in a movie. He's the police officer that gets there too late every time and says something cute or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know. I could also see Liev Schreiber doing like Jim Jarmusch in Dead Don't Die zombie movie. Like he could have been Adam Driver's buddy or something like that kind of role. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where there's not too much going on. If you gave him the reins of Wes Anderson movie, it might become a very different movie quickly. And there's just like a lot more gunfire than you were ready for.
Yeah.
I get that. The dude smells like gunpowder, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But I did think he was used well in this one.
Yeah, it reminds me a lot of like when they brought Bruce Willis in for Moonrise Kingdom. Yep. Like I felt like it was it didn't feel right. It was kind of.
I disagree.
Cute. Oh, you thought that was a good cast?
I could almost see Wes Anderson wanted to use Bruce Willis for this role, but then says, "Oh, we can't. Who's makes sense?" And the casting agent goes, "Number 2 on the sheet would be Liev Schreiber. Should we call him?" And then they said yes.
That's a weird number 2, though, to be honest with you.
No, I'm saying right behind Bruce Willis.
No, but I would probably go with another route after Bruce Willis. If he really wanted Bruce Willis, I would probably go another route, not the Liev Schreiber. I wouldn't have thought that Liev Schreiber would be on that list. I'm not saying he's not. I'm not saying he's not a good actor.
Why are we so far away from each other? No, it's not that. It's just like if you shave Liev Schreiber's head and ask him to do a Bruce Willis impression for Die Hard 7, it'd be perfect.
Okay,
they're both good at that, like gruff, small word, kind of quippy, but tough guy dialogue. Like he's really good at that. What's your problem? I'm not hating at all. I just sound like you hate.
No, I'm just talking about fit, like fit for me. That's all.
For Wes Anderson movies.
Yes.
Okay. There are a lot of characters in Wes Anderson movies that aren't eunuchs, and I promise I'm not trying to like be weirdly gendered there. I'm just saying like who aren't that like twee. Like there's often that at least 1 or 2 characters who are filling some role in Wes Anderson's subconscious that are like have a virality to them, a chutzpah, a hubris, and like a gruffness. Like I'm not trying to recast the role, obviously, but Danny Glover's role in Royal Tenenbaums, put Liev Schreiber there. It works great. You know what I'm saying? Or
I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that
at all. In 20 years, put Liev Schreiber in Gene Hackman's role in Royal Tenenbaums.
I don't think so. You're talking about different pedigrees at that point. I mean, Gene Hackman is Gene Hackman. I mean, he's like that different whole other level than a Liev Schreiber.
Okay, what I'm saying, though, is you can't say that type of person, the gruff, whatever, like that they have a role in Wes Anderson movies. the main characters are usually, cynical and skeptical, but still idealistic, young, naive folks who love arts and crafts a lot, kind of thing. But I'm going through the list in my head, and every single movie has someone who can be played by an actor that falls into that camp. Now, if you're saying it's the wrong actor for the role, okay, that's different. But there is a place as I go through in my head, every single Wes Anderson movie, for like George Clooney's in a Wes Anderson movie at some point.
Yeah,
like,
I think you're confusing things too much. Where I'm not saying like a certain character belongs. We're
talking about different things.
I'm talking about actor in that role. I agree.
And you say you don't think Liev Schreiber is a good actor, and you're saying Bruce Willis is a piece of shit, and you hate him, and that's what I'm hearing.
That is not exactly what I said. I just said that it just, as far as the type of actor and the personality the actor has, sometimes it just doesn't feel right for me in a Wes Anderson type of film. So, like what we just said about Steve Carell, like he has just a certain type of comedy, a certain type of way of portraying himself, that even though it was cute to see him in this film, I just don't feel like it fit within the realm of a Wes Anderson type of production,
So I think the ones, and as I go through it in my head, the ones that work better, tell me if I'm wrong, but there's the two we named are gruffer, and you're not liking as much, the Liev Schreibers and the Bruce Willises. Am I correct that if Willem Dafoe was in that role, somebody slicker, or George Clooney, somebody slicker, that you would have liked it, and you just want them to have smoother edges? Is that a fair description? Something like Ralph Fiennes in Grand Budapest is so silky, velvety smooth, right?
Right.
Benicio del Toro is playing someone who's a very different type of character, so I can leave that. But I'm going through the list. And in every single movie, more or less, there's somebody who's doing that thing.
Yeah.
Within the movie, I can see one or two exceptions in here.
Like
what's your problem? That's all I'm wanting to know.
I have no problem, no deal here. I'm just saying, honestly, if you put Bryan Cranston in the Liev Schreiber role, or in the Steve Carell role, you have to have a mix of quirkiness and being able to still portray a certain character, right? And I guess for me, Liev Schreiber doesn't have enough quirkiness to him. Like a Bruce Willis doesn't have enough quirk to him.
I honestly think they both do, and their careers have taken them in different ways. There's a few roles for each of them where it's like, I think of Liev Schreiber as more of a meme of a man than maybe you do, because there's a few roles he does.
Sure.
And honestly, what I could be wrong. And then we'll move on. But I'm seeing a lot of their indie movies, like the ones, the weird quirky side projects they did, and you're seeing a lot more of their,
I guess, more
mainstay action movies, and it's like that's who they are to you. And I can see both of them. Like, I've seen Bruce Willis doing goofy stuff and like more cutesy projects, and same with Liev Schreiber. I've loved Liev Schreiber for a long time, and he's really good at doing that. Kind of somebody who could come onto a TV show and have a few episodes and just be someone who's getting anyway. That makes sense now. I just wanted to understand like why you and I don't agree on this, because you're not an absolute moron. Like, I know that.
No, not completely. No, I'm not. What did you think of? So he did talk about Scarlett Johansson, right? Because he said he's been a fan of hers ever since she started acting. I remember my first exposure to Scarlett was Ghost World. When I saw that movie back in the day, she was so young then. But that is like an indie film that is, I guess if I were to like do like a top 10 indie film favorites, that would probably be within that for me. Ghost
Interesting.
World. Yeah, I really love
say that
movie.
Recently.
Yeah.
So like one of my favorite movie critics, Sean Finnessy, was talking about Ghost World for a second. He just geeked out about it. It is in that Wes Anderson camp of like 90s indie, quirky, cutesy. The problem is I was raised as a little punk hipster boy, and an emo art school girlfriend person in high school showed me that movie, and I of course loved it, but I also of course like felt obligated to love it. I didn't know why I loved it. I was probably a few years too young to appreciate its filmic qualities.
Yeah.
I can see why somebody would say that for sure. I probably need to rewatch that one. The way people talk about it is like, oh, it's actually good. I thought it was just like, oh, that's that cute movie I saw at Blockbuster, didn't know what it was, and then a girl showed it to me, and now I'm a different man, kind of thing. And like, I know what kind of jeans I want to wear moving forward.
Right.
Like now I know I don't want to be Steve Buscemi, but I want to be someone who thinks Steve Buscemi is cool in that movie. But I don't want to actually become him in that movie.
Right.
That was the trajectory for me. Sorry, we were talking about
Scarlett.
There was a bigger. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
I'm thinking of Scarlett Johansson's character in the Coen Brothers movie Hail Caesar, which, if not my number one, is like a top 3 Coen Brothers movie for me.
Yeah.
She's playing that 1950s-ish era ingénue.
Yeah.
I love that you said auteur. I said répertoire. I'm saying.
Oh, we're being fancy in this episode. We're bringing out the whole this
hipster season. Wes Anderson week, y'all.
This is what happens when Wes comes out with a new movie, man.
Yeehaw. Scarlett Johansson's character in this movie, I thought she did a goddamn good job. And the bathtub scene had me moved. And I don't mean that inappropriately or euphemistically. I mean, we're not going to get into Wes Anderson's psychology. We're not going to get into mine whatsoever at all. I got really choked up and emotional at one scene, which is kind of rare for me with Wes Anderson movies. I can get like Twitter-pated or like my heart full when like Moonrise Kingdom, when they fall in love and like that kind of thing. I can get like gleeful and giddy at parts. I got choked up and tad weepy in this one, but I wasn't able to fully feel it because Wes Anderson.
Sure.
There's a bunch of pill bottles around a bathtub. And I felt it to the core of my being. And then it turns out it was an acting bit, and it was a bit of stagecraft.
Right.
And that made me so happy. So I had this bizarre, and I didn't actually think it was real. I didn't think Wes Anderson was going all the way there. I don't think it was going back to the Luke Wilson haircut scene of Royal Tenenbaums. Another scene that gets me properly emotional, like in that big way.
Yeah.
That we often try to avoid and are afraid of, and then it happens in a movie, and all of a sudden you find yourself crying and saying, "Wow, I needed that. I not sure I would have watched this movie if I'd known that would happen to me." Wes Anderson's good at doing that, of catching you off guard and on your back feet, and then absolutely flooring you, and then pulling it back and saying, "No, everything's actually okay." That got me completely. I was shaken by it, and I also am someone who loves a Cate Blanchett Blue Jasmine or a Blanche in Streetcar character, just the woman who's outside her mind, and a great actress playing that woman. I'm a sucker for those, certainly. And so watching Scarlett Johansson's character be that woman, and then it turns out she's playing that woman, and this is a Wes Anderson movie, and we're on a really cute set in Asteroid City, and I that was, to me, maybe the moment that most stands out of the movie for me, at least the most impactful one. I'm not making a crater metaphor, I promise.
Nah.
For that reason, hell yeah. There's a lot of movies where she doesn't work in a Wes Anderson movie. I could see her in 20 years playing Angelica Houston's role in Royal Tenenbaums, some version of that. I don't know that she has necessarily the heft all the time. Sometimes she's too cute by half, and sometimes she's too serious by half.
Right.
I think this role was perfectly cast. Give me another Scarlett Johansson, Wes Anderson matchup. I might be skeptical of it, but I trust the way he does these things. His worst casting decisions, there's other directors' best casting decisions.
Right. On
a good day. This one worked to me completely. I will never get that image out of my head. And the photograph that was taken literally will also be a photograph in my mind as long as I can recall this movie.
Yeah. Yeah. No, she was, it reminded me again of what she can do acting wise. Because I feel like a lot of people nowadays, they associate her with, the Marvel films and all that. But it brought me back to those early days when she stared acting, and
let's talk like Sofia Coppola, who's also in the Wes Anderson or like the cousins, and they work together, and she's worked with her father, Lost in Translation era. Like,
Yeah.
One of those, like, she could be Katharine Hepburn, and then Katharine Hepburn gets sidelined by Marvel for 10 years. I'm glad she's done with it. I don't know. But also, get your paycheck, girl. We love you. We support you. We want our great artists to make bank, bank, bank.
Yeah. And I'm sure she still has fun. I'm sure she still has fun doing all that stuff, you know? But it is nice to just get reeled back in and reminded, like, oh, shit, wait a minute. You know, she is this level. And it's nice to see that again, you know?
She's an artiste, which is the French word for artist.
Are we at the end of our fancy wording right now? Because now we're like, artiste, baguette, croissant. Yeah. I mean, we could go on and on talking about the acting in this film and those that were cast and all that. You didn't mention about your theater experience. I don't know when you saw it, if your theater was full or how was that experience for you?
I saw it at a popular AMC theater in Manhattan. It was pretty damn full. It wasn't all the way full, but it was a lot of. It was the only AMC theater playing it, so I think it was basically every A-list person like me went to that.
They went to there, yeah.
But there were multiple show times, and then a lot of other theaters playing it because it's select release. I don't think like word of mouth. That's I think my favorite audience to be in is a select city, early the night before release in New York, or I'm guessing it's the same in LA. I'm never going to that hellhole. We watched Babylon last night. No, thank you.
But did you hear what they're doing there though for this weekend for the opening? They apparently resurrected a theater that was closed down. So
shit. I can't get any more FOMO, bro. Why are you doing this to me?
Reading this, I had a lot of FOMO. They opened it up. They're showing Asteroid City there, and they turned it into like an Asteroid City museum. It was like they have costumes there. They have props from the set. I was just like, why? What? I was like, why couldn't they do that here? Give
me the Ziegfeld. I need the Ziegfeld right now.
Exactly.
Like, billionaire motherfucker who gives your money to the library and the Met. Reopen the Ziegfeld. It's a ballroom. It's made for this exact event. They can still play movies there. And it's just, I walked by it all the time. It was the best movie theater I've ever been to in my damn life.
Hell yeah.
A historical landmark, and you turn it into a goddamn ballroom.
Yeah,
bring it back space for 2 weeks.
Ooh, we have events here. Come on, make it a movie theater, damn it.
I'll let you hold your events in my studio apartment, okay? Billionaire boy. And reopen the goddamn Ziegfeld. I don't know who's in charge here. You need to do this. Give me Asteroid City. I need it so badly. I'm angry off the FOMO right now. I need foaming with the FOMO.
Yeah, no, seriously. But
Fomenting. I need that experience. That's beautiful. I love that. How did we get Los Angeles?
You're talking about like select cities with the screening and everything.
That's the best one to see it at, is the people who are actually like, oh, I've been aware of this movie. I'm ready to go see it. I bought my ticket early. Let's go Thursday night, baby. I think your audience was into it. There's always going to be a bias when there's a Q&A. I saw Knives Out at home on Netflix, and then I resaw it with the Janelle Monáe the first one. Resaw the second one I saw. Audience loved it, of course. The one with the Janelle Monáe Q&A afterward, they got 2 standing ovations. I was like, okay, guys, relax.
Wow.
I know we have royalty here, but okay. I'm assuming your audience was going to be more biased and even more hyped than mine, because these are folks who were donors at MoMI, getting the
they were all members,
getting the newsletter.
Mm-hmm.
That said, mine was like it was a Lincoln Square crowd. It's basically built for movies like this. No applause at the end. I applauded for sure, and one other person joined me, and everyone kind of slowly shuffled out of the theater. It's not a heavy hitting movie. It's not the one that's going to really fuck you up with emotions. It's more of a slow burn thinker. And I'm guessing a lot of those people went home and had similar conversations as I did and go, oh yeah, that's deep. That's beautiful. That reminds me why we're on this planet in the first place. I want to watch it again knowing that, but I really wanted the audience experience that I had. It was a full crowd. I don't think people even hated it. I think people appreciated it. They go, oh, that was another beautiful Wes Anderson movie. Good job. Yeah. I was moved by it, and I don't know that other folks were as much. So I don't know if that's a knock on the movie. I think that might be exactly the reaction Wes Anderson expects to get from an audience for this one. So, but yeah, that was my movie experience. I had a really nice time. It's to me, he's more than appointment viewing. It's like I got there early, watched every single trailer, like very like taking some notes, but otherwise just like I was in church essentially for around 2 hours for this one, and glad to be there for it.
Yeah, no, it's like what we said. It's an event type of movie for people like Blake and I, and it's one of those interesting things too because it's Wes Anderson. He's still making kind of art house movies, but he's backed by major studios, so he has like major releases for his kind of art house darling type of films, right? Because at the end of the day,
those directors are too rare these days.
Yeah,
that used to be a thing.
Yeah,
you got a few, and like then you hear stories about a Jim Jarmusch having to like go through some bizarre hoops, and like it took me 20 years to make this one kind of crap. We used to make things in this country.
we used to be creative, artistic.
You said that the short films he's making are Netflix, right?
Yeah.
You know what that means? That means we get a similar. I don't know if they're going to redesign the whole place, but the Paris Theater,
I hope so.
The oldest single screen. Well, it's owned by Netflix. All I know is that they will play it there.
Yeah,
and I'm going to go in. I'm going to get some merch.
Yeah.
Last time they did the Noah Baumbach movie, I got a really cute little tote bag that's hanging up right now. We're going to be there. I say we do an in-person one for that one because we're not going to be able to go to another movie theater for it. It's Netflix. I say we do a little eventy thing, and I really hope they transform it. Even if they don't, give me a Wes Anderson Museum of the Moving Image style like exhibition that goes through.
Oh hell yeah! I need that. Feel like I need that
to start. I need Netflix to fund it and to start it at the Paris Theater when that comes out.
I feel like at this point he deserves something like that. I mean, again, 11 movies now, right? And in the movie world, in the cinephile world, he is one of the most talked about directors right now. You put him on the same level as Ari Aster, Jim Jarmusch, right?
I'm even going to go one level up. I'm going to go with like the Tarantinos and the Christopher Nolans.
Sure.
I know let's say Paul Thomas Anderson might be the best comp.
PTA, okay.
A few of those guys, like they'll release a few Denis Villeneuve type dudes. But we did this. One of our first big combos, and we're like, we need to do a podcast, was we went through who are the directors where it's appointment viewing. They're art house directors, but they're fully funded. They're making big old thing. And then that's when you and I get into like, Jim Jarmusch. And you're going, I don't know his Uve. Nailed it. Another word. I don't know his Uve that well. And then you're throwing some of yours at me, and I'm going like, that was, I was too young for that. I missed it. And then I'm getting caught up, and we did like essentially a concept of an episode, but it was just in a car, and we couldn't shut the fuck up.
Oh my God, we kept going.
And then a park there. It's like, wait, before I go, rank your Christopher Nolans. Okay, before I go.
Right. Yeah.
That's fun. He's one of those, no matter what.
Yeah.
Like, even if he's not your cup of Darjeeling tea, and is a little too darling for you, he is one of those directors, and we need that. Like I'm not someone who's super fearful of the future of cinema and are the AI aliens going to take over art? Are they going to take our art from us? But in 20 and 30 years, we're going to have fewer folks. There's only like a couple Ari Asters in the pipeline.
Right.
We used to have, studios will give a lot of money to this visionary, and they might lose a lot of money on it. And now you're having people like, I'm guessing every single person on this cast took a pay cut from what they've made on their biggest project by a healthy chunk. But yeah, we need to treasure. Like this Wes Anderson is a treasure, and I would love to see someone put that all on display.
Yeah, it'll be great, and yeah, I could definitely see like a Museum of Moving Image having a wing dedicated to that for like a short period of time, have it travel around. Maybe even, sometimes like the Metropolitan has exhibits like that. I could see them doing so because again.
Oh yeah, we're talking like contemporary art centers or like the modern museums.
Yeah,
like, give me MoMA for a few months. For
absolutely,
real.
Yeah, because I said it in my single review was that his movies, especially this one, you take any still from it, and it could easily be on a wall in some museum somewhere. It's just that visually stunning, you know. And I could only imagine having just a whole exhibit dedicated to this film, but all of his other lines of work too. Even some of the commercial stuff he does. I mean, some of those commercials for a quick whatever, like 30 seconds, you are so thoroughly entertained with that stuff. And they're just filmed so brilliantly. But yeah, is there anything else to say about this movie? Anything else you wanted to bring up or discuss?
I am curious how it ranks for you in the Wes Anderson of it all.
Sure.
Which is and it's too new. We're gonna do our best to like slot it in, I assume. But I personally, I don't think it's necessarily his, pardon me, magnum opus. You're welcome. Another French term for you.
Sure.
Okay, I'm waiting. Sorry, I'm waiting for the applause. I'm waiting for the applause to stop.
Yeah.
Oz.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think we're done.
Thank you.
Yeah.
What? Oh.
No. Go on.
Okay. It's not. It never stops. I wonder how this ranks for you in your Wes Andersons, and then I think that's. Then I'll take my question off the air after I answer it myself. Obviously, an episode. God damn it.
Well, we could definitely do that. So, well, before we go into that, what did you rate this on Letterboxd?
Did I 4.5? It's probably closer to a 4, but I was geeked on it.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a 5 because of the too cute by half problem. It's not as human as I would have liked for a movie that's asking the question of like, why are we here? I could have used a little more heartbeat pulsing throughout it. That said, I had an absolutely great time. I want to rewatch it again, and it's one that honestly could change anywhere between a 3.5 and a 5 for me.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm also going to hold Wes Anderson to a higher standard because I love it so much. And it isn't, there's some directors where it's like essentially an automatic 5. He's not one of those. He's one of those, like, I know that he is capable of any Hitchcock, Orson Welles, anybody level of greatness. And so my expectations are higher for his movies. And even though I do not watch or look at anything going into it, it's still, I'm going into it knowing that he is maybe the most important director in Williamsburg right now, you know, like in the history of movies.
Right.
And so that's why I'm a little harsher on it, but also a little more gracious. So 4.5 right now. We'll see how that shifts over time.
Okay.
You?
For me, I gave it 4. A 4.
That's great.
Yeah.
Wow. And you're a hater. Holy shit.
I am not a hater.
That's like a 7 for me.
No. I love this movie a lot. It's definitely not one of his best for me, for sure. But like I said, it does belong in the conversation of when you talk about top Wes Anderson films, which we might as well do now. Let's do like a top 5, right? So for me, my number 1 will definitely be Royal Tenenbaums. I feel like that's my number 1 movie there. My number 2 is Rushmore. I have such a deep love for that movie because that was my introduction to Wes Anderson. And I just, the humor, the subject matter, everything just it touched me a lot. And the execution and everything. So the one thing we have to point out always is that Wes does love a good romance story, you know, and he tries to kind of weed that in there in every film that he makes. In Asteroid City, I feel like it was like a mixed bag between, well, you have Jason Schwartzman's character who just lost a wife. So that was like a kind of like heartache. Meets Midge, who he is slowly falling in love with, right? Just based on their like interactions and conversations. And then she disappears. So it's kind of like heartbreak again, right? And all that. Then along with that, it's his son that finds love with a fellow, was that conventioner and all that, you know? So he finds love there. And then you had another heartbreak happening in the story behind the story with Adrian Brody and Hong Chow, where they had their little interaction together. And I was just like, oh my God, this movie was just filled with all that. So I love how he was able to intertwine and weave that all in there. So if I'm saying Royal Tenenbaums number 1, Rushmore number 2, this is my 3rd. This goes into my 3rd spot. Yeah.
Wow. This is okay. You also love movies, and you love like the movie about movies kind of thing.
Yeah.
You love a good like star casting kind of like this might be one of the more Rene Wes Anderson movies.
Probably.
That's really interesting to me. I hadn't thought about that, but and the sci-fi aspect of it, because you're
a little bit, you
would love to go on a date with aliens someday. You love that stuff.
A little bit. Okay. So if that's my third, then I would put Moonrise Kingdom as fourth. And then for my fifth, I would probably put in Life Aquatic, because I think Life Aquatic is probably his most underrated film out there. Because if you watch it again now, I think it hits a lot differently than it did when it first came out. Because I think people were expecting another Royal Tenenbaums, another Rushmore. And this was far from all of that stuff, and again, you watch it now, it rings home a lot differently. Plus, you have Cate Blanchett in there, who's phenomenal. And I love that every song, the soundtrack was David Bowie, basically, just done in a different form.
So is Sal Jorge, the Brazilian singer, and he's in this movie too. The dude playing guitar throughout. When I saw him, I was like, "Is that?" Oh fuck! That was another little full circle Wes Anderson moment.
Yep. And for him, I actually saw he did a concert once in New York a long time ago, and he called it like a Steve Zissou concert, because he played all the songs from Zissou in that, and he was dressed up in the red hat and the blue outfit and everything, and it was just him on stage with the guitar, and I thought that was like the most brilliant thing ever. I had so much fun with that. So that's my top 5 Wes Anderson films there. So, what about you?
Just give me a second. My stomach has fallen out of my body, and my heart is about to come out of my throat, because I can't possibly rank these. But
it's hard. It is hard, best. But yeah. I mean, I didn't even mention the Japanese SoftBank commercials that he did with Brad Pitt. I mean, those were if you line them up. I think he did 3 of them. If you line them up all together, it's like a short film in itself. So it's so good.
I'm leaving commercials off. He has an H&M one. He has was it a car commercial? The Castello Cavalcanti. Set in Italy. That's a lovely one. If you go through his Letterboxd, there's a few things that even a Wes Anderson might have missed. Just a commercial from 10 years ago. That's fully worth it in like 3 minutes of your time. Enjoy those if you've missed them. Speaking of Letterboxd, I'm making a little list as we speak of my Wes Anderson movie rankings.
Nice.
I'm having a really difficult time here, so I just need you to be patient with me.
No, that's fine.
The part of the problem is I know my number 1, 2, and I feel good about my number 3.
What's your least favorite? If you were to have like the one that you're like, you know what, I've saw it and I don't need to go back and see this again.
Fantastic Mr. Fox.
Yeah, I think I'm in the same boat.
The porn parody of Fantastic Mr. Fox. It's a furry thing, and like it's not.
It's all furries. It's all furries. Yeah.
Sorry. But no, in seriousness, Fantastic Mr. Fox. And I also have the H&M commercial below that, but we're not. That's fine.
If we were to include commercials, right?
What's funny is I ranked these just now off just eyeballing it, and it actually holds with the rating I've given them. He's one of the directors I've seen at every single work.
Interesting. Okay.
I'm glad, including Fantastic Mr. Fox, 3.5 near the bottom, and then the H&M commercial right below that. I did add the H&M commercial to my holiday movie list because it's got a couple holiday things going on.
Okay.
Because it's a Christmas movie.
Sure.
It's a holiday.
Yeah.
I don't feel great about this. The Grand Budapest Hotels, the Moonrise Kingdoms, those for me, I love them. I think they're absolute fantastic works of art.
Mm-hmm.
I don't rewatch them, and I find them like less accessible to the point where like Tenenbaums I've seen maybe 10 times in my life or so. Mm. Those ones I've seen once or twice, and yet I respect them fully, kind of like at a little bit of a distance. Right. And to me, they're essentially like all the exact same perfect high quality of art, but not going to be a top. So I'm going to lower those rankings, and yet, for all I know, in a year, Asteroid City will be in the exact same camp, or I'm not trying to do a pun with the word camp, or it'll be where I have it now. So I'm going to go ahead and just do, how I'm gonna do my. You can't stop me. What are you gonna do? Stop recording? Good luck editing that together. Number 12, Fantastic Mr. Fox. Number 11, Bottle Rocket. Number 10, 10, Rushmore. No, here we go. From bottom to top, Fantastic Mr. Fox, Rushmore, Bottle Rocket, Grand Budapest Hotel, Darjeeling Limited, Moonrise Kingdom, and then Isle of Dogs number 6, which would have been 5, and it might be like as soon as we finish recording. But top 5 for me is Asteroid City. Number 4 is Life Aquatic with Steve Zissou. Number 3 is The French Dispatch. Number 2, set in France, Hotel Chevalier, which I put here, Darjeeling Limited and Hotel Chevalier. Like, let's not get into the problems that Wes Anderson has with his movies and white casting and racial stereotypes and Darjeeling Limited. I'm going to leave that aside for now. I will say on that movie in particular, that hit me at the exact age where I was trying to find myself. I was living with my brother. The movie comes out and I see it opening night, and it was off memory the first Wes Anderson movie I got to see in theaters. And by then, kind of went from the one before. I wasn't really fully aware of him. I see Life Aquatic. My brother's friends have a little movie party. I see it and I go, who is this guy? I watch all his movies up till then. Then Darjeeling Limited is the first one where I'm seeing it in theaters at the exact age. So regardless of issues with it, Darjeeling Limited, though, with all that in mind, is lowered on the rankings. Hotel Chevalier is number 2 because also I love a good sizzling French romance set in a hotel. Ex-lovers meeting up and having it out, and it's his sexiest movie by far.
Oh, hell yeah.
Short film.
Yeah.
I still quote that movie to this day. And I almost quoted at the top of our episode of, I promise no matter what, I'll never want to be your friend. Number 1, of course, the magnum opus is Royal Tenenbaums.
Yeah.
That to me is peak Anderson. And
yeah,
I think that'll be in 100 years, the one that is his, you got to see this movie in film school movie.
Yeah.
Still, I can't imagine that not being the case. That said, a lot, like you said, a lot of people came around at Moonrise Kingdom time. Some folks were, COVID happens. This looks like a cute little movie. I'm going to put it on, kill some time. Oh, who is this guy? What the fuck?
Yeah.
I think any of these movies, basically any in the top 10, could be someone's favorite Wes Anderson movie, and I wouldn't blame them for half a second. So that's my rankings.
Yeah, you can't go wrong with any of his films. I think it just boils down to where were you at the time you saw them? Like, did it hit you at that right moment? Again, the reason why Rushmore is number 2 for me, because for a long time, Rushmore was my number 1 because 1, it was my introduction to him. I saw that in the theater. I went out on a whim because I kept getting bombarded by these MTV commercials. They were promoting the movie awards or music awards or something like that. And they got the entire cast of Rushmore to do vignettes of like scenes from the movies of the year. And like in the stage production style. So you have all these little kids acting out like Truman Show and shit like that. And I was like, this is so damn cute. Where is this from? And I heard it was from Rushmore. So I'm like, oh, let me go check out this movie. And my mind was blown. I was like, oh my God. It kind of hit me at that right moment. And then to follow that up with Royal Tenenbaums, which is, again, if you talk to a bunch of Wes Anderson fans, they'll probably say that is his best movie like that he's ever made. From story to acting to his visualizations, I think were really solidified in that movie. Now, when you see people mimic and imitate Wes Anderson, it looks very close to Royal Tenenbaums, with the color schemes, the fonts used, all that stuff. Whenever you do a montage of this is the stuff I'm using, and you go on a table and you see the book or the wallet or whatever, I feel like they've stolen a lot of that stuff from that movie. It's like it's the one that really put him on the map and saying, all right, this is the director to look out for and all that. But yeah, if you're hit, no matter what time you're hit, any of these movies can rank higher for you or whatever the case is. But you can't go wrong with any of them because they're just so good.
I know we're wrapping. I just need to throw out what the people apparently think is best.
Sure.
So if you do by popularity, which is like how many people have seen it on Letterboxd, and then or if you do rating, Royal Tenenbaums is not there. If you go by popularity, somehow Royal Tenenbaums is number 6.
What?
Grand Budapest Hotel is number 1. Fantastic Mr. Fox, French Dispatch, Moonrise Kingdom, Isle of Dogs, Tenenbaums. Hear me out. There's a lot of people joining Letterboxd now doing the Rene method where they add the new movies they saw. The fact that these are newer or ones that somebody would watch when they became a parent, Fantastic Mr. Fox, something like that, right? The other thing that will be a little more accurate is average rating, highest to first. Number 1 is my lowest fucking movie, Fantastic Mr. Fox.
A lot of people love that movie.
Yeah. I need to rewatch it because I think I was just like not expecting it to be what it was, and I didn't give it credit. Maybe I did love Isle of Dogs in its own way.
Yeah.
Number 2, Grand Budapest Hotel. Number 3, Tenenbaums. And then we get to Asteroid City, which is kind of why I was a little concerned about this one. It's much lower. It's got a 3.7 on Letterboxd right now, and they did a whole campaign for it.
But it's not nationwide yet here in the States. So I feel like the minute that does spread out more, then
actually, you're right. And this might be one of his that's a little more for the Nevadans, the Arizonans.
Could be. Yeah, so it could be like the Midwesterners and all that. Yeah.
Who know what that gas station looks like and actually went there with their grandpa.
Yeah, exactly.
Shout out me. Shout out Papa Walt. That makes sense. So we'll see. But for right now, I'm glad that we have the list we do, because otherwise, if this was your list, I think we'd be done here.
Oh my God, it'll be nuts.
I promise, no matter what happens, I'm never gonna want to be a friend. We're just partners in podcasting.
Partners in podcasting, and that's all that is necessary for all of you listening and watching. Thank you so much.
I forgot you were here.
Yeah.
Hello.
We get lost in our conversations, but I think that's just how it should be. That's how our conversations go all the time. But we would love to hear what your thoughts are on not only the films we discussed today, but your rankings on Wes Anderson films, and what are your top 5s, top 10s, least favorite, most favorite. Would love to hear all your stories and all that. But we thank you so much for tuning in on this episode. It's our 49th episode, dude. Our next one will be 50. And that is amazing. A feat in itself. So definitely look forward to doing this with you. And I hope all of you who are listening are looking forward to hearing our episodes when they come out. So until the next time, Blake, when can people find you on the interwebs?
You can find my apology letter to all of our fans, because I said Bob Balaban narrated Royal Tenenbaums, and that was Alec Baldwin. I meant to say Bob Balaban narrated Moonrise Kingdom, and I'm very, very sorry. I will be posting my apology letter on Letterboxd, where you can find me under the username, last name Wolf, common spelling, no punctuation, last name Wolf. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, I'm ashamed too, because I actually agreed with what you said too. So I feel like we're both in the same boat. Yeah, we're both in this. But Bob Balaban is just one of those guys that you think he's like in all those type of movies. With the Christopher Guest films and Wes Anderson. I feel like he just belongs like all the time.
Earlier today, I opened my cupboard to looking.
Was he there?
He was right there. Yeah.
Oh my God. Perfect.
Hello, friend. Yeah.
Like, hey. Are you eating this macaroni and cheese today? I don't know.
Always good to see him. It's always good to see you, Rene. It's always good to see you, our beloved fans. Where can we find this stuff?
Yeah, well,
all this hodgepodge of lovely arts and culture, memorabilia, commentary, and fanfare.
And all that good stuff. I mean, obviously, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, LOWKEY GEEK. That's where you can find the MovieTime Podcast and all the other stuff that the LOWKEY GEEK does for that channel. That is basically me. Again, if you are listening on YouTube and you want to listen on Spotify, iTunes, all you got to do is search for LOWKEY GEEK, and you'll find the channel there on your podcast platform of choices. We're going to download all these episodes. Again, if you want visual representation of these episodes, I'm still figuring out how that could be possible, but I think what we're going to do moving forward is full unedited episodes visually can be seen on YouTube through a membership. and I'll be setting that up shortly if you want to go ahead. And it's a great way, again, to support us and support the channel and support this podcast, because you'll still get audio versions of this on YouTube and on podcast platforms. Clip outs will still be happening on YouTube, and those will be visual clip outs as well. So if you want to see that, you could do that and subscribe. Make sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel there. But always a pleasure, always fun doing this. Love every time, every moment, as always. Until next time, stay cool, stay classy, stay safe. This has been Rene. This has also been Blake. This has been the MovieTime Podcast. We will catch you all in the next one. Peace out, everybody. Bye-bye.